Hello again and welcome to another episode of This Week in Horror with me, Casey, for Morbidly Beautiful. This is what's going on this week in horror. It is with a very heavy heart that I have to announce the passing of Sid Haig. Last week we did a little report on his well-being and it looked like he was getting better, but I guess those close to him knew something was wrong. And it does come as a shock to most of us, but those who were close to him did suspect something was up. Apparently he had missed a lot of rehearsal and costume fitting for Rob Zombie's latest flick, 3 from Hell, and he was supposed to be a major player in that, and Rob himself actually had to rewrite the script in order to accommodate for Sid's health issues. Several reports have Rob Zombie saying that he did go to see Sid in hospital and he wasn't looking well. It looked like he lost about 90 pounds, according to Rob, so he didn't look well at all, which is very unfortunate. He passed away this past Saturday on the 21st. His family and friends do wish that you allow them to mourn during this time. Of course, you can give all your well wishes, but just leave them in peace for the time being. A statement will be released whenever the family is ready. And sticking with Rob Zombie and 3 from Hell, it does have a glowing review from at least one person. That person is Kevin Smith, saying it is every horror fan's dream. It's a perfect horror movie, according to Kevin Smith, who does kind of exaggerate a lot of the time when talking about movies, but he's very passionate about it, so if he likes it and he's a horror fan, you should like it too. However, it did receive pretty lukewarm to poor reviews in general, and I don't think people who are fans of Rob Zombie stuff really care too much about the critical review. But it did end up raising $1.92 million in those 3 days, ranking in the top 5 of the theaters that it was released in. There aren't too many horror movies out there that really strike the critics' fancy. It's a shame, but it happens all the time. The It franchise has officially passed the $1 billion box office mark, which is outstanding for a horror movie. I don't think any horror movies hit $1 billion in its theatrical run, even though it was over 2 movies. The franchise has still hit $1 billion, with It Chapter 2 hitting at least $322 million worldwide, and it is anticipated that it will go up to probably closer to $500 million by the time it leaves theaters all over the world. Just goes to show that horror does have a place in mainstream. They're not all 3 from Hells, they're not all the Devil's Rejects. There are some mainstream horror, and some people prefer mainstream horror over the indie scene. And if that's your thing, all the power to you. It's also anticipated that it will also reach approximately a little bit more than $200 million domestically, which is awesome. And it just gives a nice little swan song to Pennywise's last theatrical dance. Or does it? There are some reports, and it's very obscure reports. I had to scour lots and lots of weird websites on the internet to find this, but it does have one report at least saying that Bill Skarsgård, the guy who plays Pennywise, has talked to the It director about doing a Chapter 3. Now, obviously, they can't go into the future because Pennywise is, well, I'm not going to spoil it, but it would be very difficult for Pennywise to come back for a 3rd part, given the timeline of events. However, there are prequels. Prequels are a very big deal in Hollywood, always have been, probably always will be. And so we have that to look forward to in the future, potentially. It's just very early in discussion, so don't get your hopes up if nothing comes of it. I think ending in at Chapter 2 would be the best bet, but you never know. Hollywood likes its money. And Pennywise does put asses in the seats, so there is that. In some release news, on the 27th of September, Netflix will be releasing a film called In the Shadow of the Moon. Now, this is a detective/sci-fi sort of movie that will be released, as I said, on the 27th of this month, which is just a few days away, end of the week. The movie does take place in 1988, keeping with sort of the whole revitalization of the 80s genre, era, whatever you want to call it. It's making a comeback, and it looks like it's here to stay with this movie coming out the end of the week. And that does also start the trend of Netflix releasing something every week in terms of spook factor, at least a little bit of spook factor, for the next few weeks leading up to Halloween. So you have a lot of content to look forward to in the coming weeks and next month, give or take. Should be a good time. If you do have a Netflix subscription, definitely check out what they have going on and what they're going to be putting out. It's also revealed that In the Shadow of the Moon is a little more gory than it is jumpy. So think more, I guess, Seven as opposed to Haunting of Hill House. The Fantastic Film Fest did kick off last Wednesday on the 18th and will continue for 9 days. The Fantastic Film Fest is a Texas-based film festival featuring tons of great films from all sorts of different walks of life, genres, lengths, whatever you want to call it. And our editor-in-chief, Stephanie, is there covering the event. She's already released a handful of reviews, so go check them out on morbidlybeautiful.com right now. They're not all horror, but they are some very good reviews. So go check them out right now. See what this event is all about. It's a fantastic festival. All film festivals are fantastic, but this one is a little bit special because we do have some correspondents there giving some almost real-time reviews. I swear she's pumping out reviews like a robot, just going and going and going and going. Go check them out. Amazing stuff. Really worth your time to read. And then check out the movies, of course, because, yeah, why not? The fest is showing some great flicks, including Memory, which is the alien origins kind of documentary, as well as Vivarium, which is the USA premiere, features Jesse Eisenberg, and looks like a really creepy, kind of atmospheric horror flick. Might be worth checking out as well. In terms of video game news, Red Dead Redemption 2 online mode has had players sort of coming across something a little bit strange. Yes, that's right, zombies seem to be taking over the online world. Well, back in 2010, the wildly successful Undead Nightmare for Red Dead Redemption was released in the weeks leading up to Halloween. A lot of people think that's exactly the same thing that's going to happen with Red Dead Redemption 2. It was crazy popular. People loved the expansion, and it would only make sense that they do it again. So look for that if you are a gamer and you do like to play Red Dead, and you do play it online. Look for that update to be coming within the next month. They'll probably be teasing it, as Rockstar tends to do, with little hints and tidbits and maybe little secrets thrown around the world, such as these people coming across these zombie-like NPCs in the world. And lastly, I do have to end this episode on a high note. I know we started on a bit of a bummer with Sid Haig, but it was also Stephen King's birthday on Saturday. He turned 72. The Master of Horror is still going strong and just recently released a new book. And that book is called The Institute. It's available now pretty much anywhere you can get your hands on a book, be it digital copy or physical. That's all I have for you today. So until next week, keep your eyes on morbidlybeautiful.com for all the great content they are putting out. Tons of reviews going up, lots of retrospectives. They just released something called In Defense of Halloween, the Rob Zombie remakes. If you were a fan of that, you'll probably agree with the article. If you weren't a fan of that, you probably really won't like the article at all. But that's what makes the internet and journalism and reporting so great, is all the different opinions that can go into it. Personally, I did not like the Rob Zombie Halloween remakes, but I just have one opinion, and so do you. So maybe you do like it. Other than that, there's still tons of great content on the website, so go check that out right now after you stop watching this video. Links will be in the description for everything Morbidly Beautiful and some of the stuff I talked about today. So until next week.